Hello, welcome to Big Wick Energy, a 100% automated copy trading bot fully managed by the Block Party trading team. It's exclusively available on Mizar, and if you want to get access, just head on over to mizar.ai, check out the marketplace, and we're right there. If you want a truly set and forget experience with automated trading, then this is for you. There is no monthly subscription. We only get paid if we win. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps us grow and bring you more awesome content. Enough yapping, let's get into those trades. First thing is first, let's take a look at BTC and what it is doing today. And to be quite honest, it has pretty much followed exactly what I thought it was going to do. We lost this support at 21,700. It was fighting for quite some time, but you know, there was just too many big sells at this 22,200, which we had our eye on the order books. And you know, like with all of the news that's going to be coming out today, a lot of earnings reports and the consumer confidence announcement as well, pretty much coincided with the US market. It's pretty much going to be bloody. But, you know, we'll see what kind of happens. A lot of this could be dialed in, I don't know, but the Asian market certainly didn't seem to think so. There's this big red candle or orange candle here. What we are actually doing at the moment is following this bullish 3-drive pattern, and realistic from a TA standpoint, we should hopefully be seeing a bit of a bounce here. I was hoping to actually see a bit of a bounce before now because we're about an hour off US market open, so I'm not horrifically confident. I've actually just released a little scalp into the premium group as well. You know, I've got a very small, about 1.3% stop loss here, and you know, a little bit of a long going up about 3%. If it pulls off, amazing. If not, I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it. So 1 to 3 risk reward. So, well, thereabouts kind of thing. 1 to 2.5 maybe. Oh, it says right there, 2.15. There you go. But all in all, I'm still feeling relatively bearish on Bitcoin. So I'm extremely happy I didn't open any long trades yesterday, but we did have an absolute ball with the short trades, or more specifically the BTC, the down tokens on Binance, and we racked up about 36.7% overnight in wins, which is pretty cool. So we're going to look at a little bit more of those today, but let's just take a quick look at where we are with the management of all the other trades right now. So do it in alphabetical order as usual. COTY, again, as I keep saying, you know, we've got a hard fork coming out, and that's proposed for around about the 2nd of August. So to be honest, I'm super happy to be accumulating in COTY. We're only on SO2 at the moment, and all of my SO3s now are going to be pretty much near to that. I'm not going to say local bottom, but yeah, pretty much the new all-time lows for a lot of these assets since the massive parabolic run. And that's kind of where I'm placing a lot of these SO3s now. I'm not actually expecting to fill them, as I don't feel the market's going to get that low, but that's where they're sitting at the moment. Again, absolutely zero trades I am worried about at all. DCR, longer term trade as well. This hasn't even hit SO1 yet, and it's been holding very well. So yeah, nice work DCR, keep that up. Doge, this is always a bit of a volatile asset, but we've just, you know, it's saying that we've just broken out of this triangle. I'm not convinced. You know, obviously if we see any more further downward movement, then yes, obviously confirmed. But right now it is holding on, and we've got an SO3 set up down here, which I might lower a little bit, to be quite honest. But I'm not married to that. But however, we'll see what happens at about 1:30 our time, which is the US market open in the UK. And again, as you can see, like my SO3s are sitting at pretty much the bare bottom down there. And yep, Gala, again, great asset, not too worried about this. We've just filled the SO2, and we're really not that far. I like to try and aim to keep within 10% of most average buys to where the current price is when DCAing. Obviously, that's not always possible when there's pretty much an aggressive DCA market. Otherwise, you start to an aggressive bear market. Otherwise, you start to just spending a lot of money for not getting much return. So still being sensible, but you know, to remain within 10% is pretty awesome because, you know, you can quite easily close out a trade at an average break-even price if you really want. My main objective, as I said yesterday, is to try and reduce exposure a little bit. So some of these longer term trades, if I do get back into profit, then I'll probably close those and then look to wait to see if there is a more continued market dump and then just get a better entry. Like I said, all of the assets that we're looking at the moment, I am super confident in and I absolutely love and I have no worries about, but I'm never going to say no to a better entry. Next up, GMT. You know, it's going to be a bit of a rinse and repeat. We're going to see a pretty significant dump. A lot of SO2s filled, a lot of average buys brought down. But the good thing as well is for a lot of these assets, we're not actually, you know, we're actually retaining quite a nice market structure. And by that, I mean this kind of, if we were to draw a bit of a channel on here, you know, you'll see what I mean across a lot of these assets. We're not really breaking out of this structure too much at all. And, you know, we need to stop worrying once we break down here. If we bounce here a little bit, which I think could be possible, hoping that, all, like I said, all this is dialed in for the announcement. But if we retain this market structure, you know, it's a really, really bullish pattern forming, especially things like this. This is amazing when we've got this kind of descending wedge, triangle jam going on, because we're going to ping straight up here and head on up to this direction. So, you know, I would be tempted to put safety orders a little bit higher, but given the scale of the news and announcements that's coming out at the moment, this really could absolutely bomb. And I don't particularly want to be getting safety orders too high up because then we're just going to have to really consolidate what we're looking at DCAing. And at the moment, we're in a really luxurious place because we can kind of spread on DCA trades across all the assets and keep them nicely spread out and really control that exposure and that allocation into these, because we know we're a bit bearish, right? Like we know that. So let's not kind of try to catch the knife. There's no point. We know that we're kind of towards the bottom of where BTC is. We know we're in that general region. So I'm not going to front load or put a bunch of safety orders in there to try and aggressively get out at the moment. The market is going to go up at some point and probably not in the too distant future. So yeah, not going to stress at all right now. Just going to keep on maintaining a very nice average buy-in, get lower targets. If we start to see some extremely bullish pressure and extremely bullish news, then all of these targets, all of these TPs are going to greatly increase, which is a very, very likely scenario. And again, you know, we can see this wonderful looking triangle. This is exactly what we want to see. This real nice kind of descending consolidation where we're seeing these divergences pop in and we're heading into a lot of kind of, you know, support territory, trendline territory. And you know, when we're starting to see these little harmonics kind of pop up as well, all these things are pointing towards a reversal. So like I said, don't worry too much about the short term. There's a nice little bounce from ICP there as well. Going into LPT, again, we've got a real nice Gartley harmonic popping up there. A lot of the same again, kind of working within this descending channel. So we're going to see a lot of descending wedges, triangles, channels, pretty much kind of printing. You know, this is essentially a bull flag kind of thing. If we can break out of here, we're off to the races. And yeah, like I said, I am really, 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 really happy about how a lot of these charts are looking. I just have kind of stopped caring too much about all this volatile news. We know that there's going to be volatility. We know that's going to happen. Like if you're not kind of on the absolute, holding on with your fingernails for margin right now, which I really hope you're not. Hopefully you should have learned from the last lesson when we went down to 17.5K. I know I did. But, you know, padding out margins or maybe not really having any futures at the moment, because volatility in futures is pretty much a recipe for disaster. Some people argue differently. You know, I'm not a scalper. I'm not a day trader. But DCA is kind of built for this kind of market. Mana, again, I'm just all in on metaverse assets, Mana, Sand, my two kind of key ones that I love trading. We saw a massive drop off, and this is just what it does. You know, it just dumps and it just pumps out of nowhere when it feels like it. You've got a massive do-buy strategy going on with the metaverse at the moment. There is no way Mana and Sand aren't going to pump with that kind of thing going on. MKR, this had a slightly aggressive SO2 on it. Yeah, reason being, I was just kind of targeting this unfilled weekly pivot. Those things are just brilliant for price targets, but also bounces as well. So we can fully expect to see a bit of a bounce there, pretty much along with the rest of the market like we're seeing. And we do have this real nice long-term ascending triangle going on here. So if we bounce here, then I might actually reduce this target down to about the top of this resistance just here, and this could be one of the trades that I actually get out of a little bit earlier to reduce that exposure. When I say, you know, smaller target, we're still looking at 10% there, so I can live with that. Neo, again, this is one of our longer term trades, breakout of the RSI trend line. It's now, a lot of these trades that we're looking at right now have just filled their unfilled weekly pivot. Again, these pivots kind of work in a similar kind of theory, I guess, to like CME gaps of Bitcoin, where the price just seems to gravitate towards them and they just get filled so often. And as we can see, literally right now, you know, we're talking about these unfilled weekly pivots right here at this price point right here. And you'd think it's a bit crazy for it to drop 13% in the space of 12 hours, but you know, it does. And that's the kind of power of these weekly pivots. They're just brilliant. It's something like 90% of the time something they get filled. I'll have to do a little bit more fact checking there, and I'll let you know in the next video as to a bit more information about weekly pivots. But they're just awesome. I love trading them. Here we go, Sands. We've waxed lyrical enough about Metaverse. I don't really need to look too much into the TA in regards to this. This is based heavily on fundamentals and news. We know this is going up. Shib, you failed. You failed me, Shib. I wanted to see more from you, but like Doge, it's following a very similar trajectory. We're seeing actually quite a nice bat harmonic popping up on there. We have filled the weekly pivot just here, and we're coming down to this real key support zone, and also the point of control on the fixed volume range. So everything here, everything that I'm looking at right now, going through all of these assets, and as I have done earlier on, is saying we are looking to bounce. Now, what I want to do is I don't want to open a whole bunch of longs right now. Again, it's just a bit too knife catchy. We've got quite a high level of exposure, around about 19 trades out of the 30. But that to me is quite high. Like I said, I still think we can go down. The time when you'll be seeing like 30 trades out of 30 trades is when we are going, you know, balls to the walls. We are going bullish. We are fully parabolic, and it is just a case of getting out as many trades as possible. As soon as we see those pullbacks, there'll be a lot of scalps, a lot of rapid fires. Right now, it is picking and sniping those opportunities very, very carefully, very selectively, but also most importantly with assets that aren't going to crumble. You know, we can't say that about everything. You know, Luna did crumble. It was a big asset. There's no bones about it. So we can't predict these things. SXP looking brilliant. Unfilled weekly pivot filled. A bat harmonic on there as well. We've got our point of control up here, so that's where we're targeting. If this trade gets into the break even or positive, I'll probably be closing that. But again, we are looking at this channel where we're looking to bounce. All looking good. TRX down. This has been one of the banes of my life, but I think this is actually going to be... oops, hello, get rid of that. This is actually going to come pretty good soon. So I am expecting potentially a little bit of a pump. And hopefully if we do, I think that I'm going to... I've raised my safety order here a little bit more aggressively now. So if we come down to here and we bounce, or, you know, this is working opposite now. So this is a TRX down. So this is the bearish token. So wrap your heads around that. To flip the chart upside down, if you will. If we come down here and bounce, then brilliant. I'm going to get that safety order, going to bring this right down, and I'm going to let this ride because we've got a good bit of capital in this now. So if we do get this filled, get the average buy price down, I want to really make this work for the 21 days that it has been keeping me in this trade. But what is interesting about this specifically is if you come down here, we have a nice little triangle, consolidating triangle formation. We've filled this unfilled weekly pivot. We are looking to break out of the 20 DMA. We might come back down here. Like I said, I'm hoping that we come back down here and test this and then bounce up. But you know, all in all, I'm still expecting a little bit of a bounce from Bitcoin, and I am still also expecting some heavily bearish pressure after that. Like I said, that's why I'm not committing to any longs at the moment. I think there's going to be a lot of people who get a little bit too jubilant in this next tiny bounce, given that the scale of the news that's coming, people are going to start to think like, oh, it's all been dialed in, you know, it's not going to affect me. And then that's when I think a lot of longs are going to get crushed. So we don't need to rush. We're using DCA. We're just going to bide our time a little bit here. We'll do a few tiny little scalps here and there, but we're going to be hedging a lot with some short tokens, as I feel that's the way it's going. And the best thing about hedging with short tokens is, even if it is a flash dump, we can get in and get out really, really quickly. XEC, again, filled the, well, that has actually already filled, but this is looking nice. We've just hit a butterfly harmonic, and you know, it's the same old story. We're seeing very similar patterns. Channels, descending wedges, descending triangles, harmonics all coming in, all suggesting a bit of a bounce. But again, we are at the mercy of the Fed. XRP, yeah, this actually surprised me a little bit. I thought it would hold the price a little bit better than it has, but that has just been absolutely crushed by about 10% in about a day and a half. But again, there we go. We are filling the unfilled weekly pivot. Completely ignored that ABCD harmonic. But if you look at this, like the consistency of these weekly pivots, 3 weeks in a row, almost identical. So if we do end up coming down here, you know, you could probably hedge that we're going to be getting back up to here pretty soon, certainly within that week period. So it could be a nice little range trade. When I see weekly pivots like this, that to me just spells range. You know, that's such a great opportunity to do some range trading, and just excellent for DCA. So again, not too worried, but I am still placing my safety orders at the lows. Like I said, for this is for D-Day. If we can make it through this week and we're not sub 20, I'm actually going to chalk that off as a massive win and also massively bullish. ZEC, final one of the active trades, just coming up to our first SO2 on there. Again, that's a real nice placement for it. A bat on that. Be really nice if we just wick down, catch that, and then bounce up. We've got our point of control just there. As we can see, as I've just been discussing as well on XRP, these 3 weekly pivots, like almost in a row. And what is exciting as well here, we have an unfilled weekly pivot right up here. So if we can fill this safety order just down here, I might even forcefully raise it, bring the average buy price down to within this weekly pivot. And when we got our head above water, just close that and we'll free up a slot. And so that, along with SXP and possibly TRX down, will free up quite a few slots for us, which is going to be great. And then we can start to focus on being maybe a little bit more aggressive on the other assets, or just look to open some more trades depending on what the market's looking like. And then that brings us on to our awaiting entries assets. So what we're looking at is BTC down, Ethereum down, and Link down, which are all bearish tokens. So essentially just flip the chart upside down. Now, at the moment, we've seen a little bit of a dump, which has taken the price up on these bearish tokens. I am expecting to see, like I said before, some kind of pump, some kind of fake out, not fake out because we haven't got anything to break out of yet, but you know, a little bit of false hope. We do have a TD9 forming on here. So if you flip that around, that would be a TD9 bullish on the regular BTC chart. So I do think we're going to see a bit of bullish pressure, in which point we'll actually kind of fill this nicely, and it'll get us a much better entry. And then after that, I do think we're going to be followed by a bit of a dump, which should close these pretty quickly. The objective is to try and get these to 9%, which is these work on 3x. So that would be a 3% move. And then we can close a quick 27% there. and TRX as well would be quite hopeful. And then once we're out of the hedge tokens or down tokens, then we can start to re-look at scalping those, sniping those, as we are hopefully heading back up. Anyway, that wraps up all of the big Wick energy portfolio for today on the 26th of the 7th, Tuesday. And also don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. It helps us bring you more awesome content.